if the recording didn't even matter. First thing is it says there's going to be 4 intervals. Matt, if there's going to be 4 intervals, how do we figure out how wide each one is?
2 and divided by 4.
Okay, good. And I'm assuming you're getting the 2 from right there. Yep. Over on the left. Mhm. Over on the left-hand side, the integral from 0 to 2 is telling us where it begins and ends. And if you have a length of 2, and you're trying to have 4 intervals, you take your length divided by how many intervals. And then this will tell you the width of each rectangle or shape. So over here, this table has 5 spots on it, even though there's only 4 intervals. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill out from 0 to 2 with 4 intervals. So add 0.5 repeatedly, and then it should end up at the 2's. Now, what I'd like you guys to do kind of quickly, fill out the bottom of the table. So, is it just x cubed? Yeah. Fill out the bottom of the table pretty quickly with x cubed. I don't like this. I haven't had to speak for like a week and a half. I'm losing my voice after 1 hour. Oh yeah, you just cube it.
Oh, it should be 1 over 2. Cubed it.
I think those are the right decimals.
Yeah, you're really smart.
No, it's just like you use 1/8 enough as a decimal, you kind of like learn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're doing left-hand rectangles, and you're just given a table, because frequently on the AP test, they'll only give you a table. They won't give you a picture. Frequently, they won't even give you an equation. They'll just call this the integral from 0 to 2 of f of x. And so you'll just have a bunch of tables and numbers. Our first rectangle, if we were to draw this, would go right there. And so if we're doing left endpoint, then we would choose the left-hand side of the first rectangle, which would be 0. Our second rectangle would be from 0.5 to 1, and then the left endpoint would be at 0.5. Third rectangle, fourth rectangle, and we would choose the 4, basically choose the first 4 numbers. So our first 4 heights would be 0, 1/8, 1, and then 3, 3, 7, 5. And if we add all of our heights together, we can multiply by the width of 0.5. Now, if this confuses you or bothers you, you can 100% take each of the 4 heights times 0.5 and then add them up. Because that's how you find the area of a rectangle. You do width times height. So 3, 5, 4, 5, 2, 2, 5?
Yep.
So the left-hand endpoint, 4 intervals would give us 2, 2, 5. Do you guys think you could do the right-hand endpoint on your own? Try it right on your own. Now, I'll leave these little pictures up here, if that helps. Because you're absolutely allowed to just draw all of the AP text. So if they give you a table and you need to draw something to help you organize it, do that. Did I mention R&R already? Especially since the bell rang at 9:15 or 8:15, we do have R&R today. I honestly, I wasn't sure. Oh, I didn't change the clock yet. Yeah, the first bell rang at 9:15, so we have R&R. So sign up for one of your 6 classes. I mean, I would assume today is gonna be mostly study hall for everybody, but who knows? Oh, now I need a tall person so I can take that down. Seth did it last time? We need some height. To be able to take down the clock. It's very ungraceful when I try to stand on a chair or a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sitting on push pins, so you just kind of lift it up. Yep. Perfect.
So your head reaches the bottom of the cloud. Almost. From here it looks like it. Well, that's because you're short. That's because I'm down here.
Wait, he's an odd
This is the hard part. Trying to line it up on those push pins. Oh, look at you. Nice job. I apologize, Matt. I didn't think you were that tall. I know.
You're like
It
doesn't help.
That's way lower. Not even a competition. That's
My goodness. Did you guys get 65?
Yes.
No, I'm 25.
They're like
25?
Yeah, they.
I got 6.25.
I got 6.25.
Yeah, I got.
Donald, what are you doing?
You multiplied by 2, I think.
Oh, probably.
Because I think those add up to 12.5 if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
well, that's what, yeah. Push wrong button.
Okay.
And I'm the loud one.
I didn't think it was you.
Just all of us.
Okay, so trapezoid was the one that everybody was really confused on, which is why I wanted to take a minute to do trapezoid with it. Now, ahead of time, if I were to average these two, what would that give me? 8.5, 4.25?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm anticipating that this answer for the trapezoids should be 4.25. So if we have a left-hand rectangle, I'll just pretend it's taller, it doesn't actually matter. And we have a right-hand rectangle that would be a different height. If I use the one number from the left-hand side, and I use the one number from the right-hand side, then that would create a trapezoid instead of a rectangle. This is how the trapezoid method is used. Instead of making a rectangle by just picking one side, like you either choose the left or the right, that makes a rectangle. The trapezoid method means that you use both the left and the right hand side, and it creates a trapezoid, but it's like a sideways trapezoid. So trapezoid formula is gonna be 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. But for our situation, base 1 and base 2 is the parallel lines. So our bases are actually gonna be the heights. And then the height of the trapezoid is how far it is between them. So on our first shape, oh, what happened there? Well, they're all off. On our first shape, I'm going to use both heights. I'm going to use the 0 and the 1/8. So my first trapezoid, 0 on the left, 1/8 on the right. Well, that's not even really a trapezoid, that's a triangle. You can still calculate it as a trapezoid, it'll still work. But our first shape is gonna look like that. Our second shape is gonna be at a height of 1/8 and then a height of 1. And so our second shape will be a trapezoid at a height of 1/8, height of 1. Third trapezoid is gonna go from a height of 1 to a height of 3,375, and I would get 4 trapezoids. So calculating the trapezoids is kind of annoying. So I have to do 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. Oh, forgot. Times the height of the trapezoid, which is gonna be 0.5. This is my first trapezoid. My second trapezoid. So I'm basically just using the number on both sides of it. 3,375. Now, before we get too far, I'll show you the shortcut. Most people can't stand just writing this 4 separate times. And so most people like doing the shortcut method. You'll notice every single one of the numbers is used twice, except for the first and last number. So like 0.125, 1, and then 3,375. They're all used twice. So the shorter method is you still do the trapezoid formula, but instead of doing base 1 plus base 2, you do the first number, double the second number, double the third number, you double every number except for first and last. And then this will let you do it in one step rather than 4 separate steps. You still do all the exact other numbers. So 1/2 for the front, 0.5 at the end, 0.5 just from the width. But instead of doing this 4 separate times, you can do it in one parentheses with 2 of all of the middle numbers, 1 of each of the ends. And I'm assuming that's gonna be 425, unless somebody calculated. I'm guessing it should be. I'm not gonna pretend to do that with my head.
Wait, I have a question. Oh, never mind, I said +8.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't fit the +8, it was too far over. 425? I mean, it should have been 425, I just wanted to double check we wrote everything correct. Like I said, the trapezoid is always going to be exactly the average of left and right.
So isn't that midpoint?
No, it kind of seems like it, but it's not. If everything was a straight line, then the midpoint and the average would be the same. The midpoint is always gonna be really close to this answer. But since graphs a lot of times are gonna be the curves, the middle of the left and the right isn't always exactly halfway in between the left and the right. So I guess what I wanted to emphasize though, if you're taking the AP test and they ask you to do the trapezoid method, and you completely forget how to do trapezoid method, you can always do the left rectangle, the right rectangle, and then average them. It will always be exactly the same as trapezoid, because that's how you make a trapezoid. You make a trapezoid by averaging the two rectangles. I mean, you're just cutting a line in between. So they'll always be exactly the same. If it's easier for you just to go to a trapezoid right away, because you can type everything in one step, do that. I mean, it's not gonna matter. They don't collect work on multiple choice. If it's a free response question, I should look that up. I don't think there's ever been a trapezoid method on free response, but I wonder if they would accept the average. I'll try to look that one up. Either way, I was hoping you guys could do problem 2. Now, problem 2 is gonna be more annoying, because it's tricky. And you're probably not gonna be able to predict the numbers and answers. Do you want me to help you get started with figure out the width? Or does anybody want me to like talk about trapezoid or left and right more? I didn't have midpoint on this worksheet. I didn't make this worksheet up. I just found it and then kind of fit it towards what we're doing. I definitely would have put midpoint, but the problem is when you have a table, midpoint has to be done differently than left, right, and trapezoid. So that's why tables don't really fit together for all of them. So this one is an entire width of pi halves, because we're going 0 to pi halves. And we're still splitting it up into 4 sections. So we need to take pi halves and divide it by 4, gives you pi eighths. So our first number should be 0. What would be the second number? Pi eighths. You add pi eighths repeatedly. So then you would have 2 pi eighths, or pi fourths, 3 pi eighths, and then 4 pi eighths, which would be pi halves. And that works out perfect because that's where we wanted to end. So see if you can find left, right, trapezoid. Definitely try the trapezoid one by doing the actual trapezoid method rather than just averaging those 2 answers. But they should be the same. Okay, we got what, 20 minutes left to do that. That should be a pretty easy first day. The homework for 6-1 and 6-3. I didn't have it due last trimester. It is gonna be due this trimester this week. I think Mr. Stouffer had you guys work out of the packet on 6-1 and 6-3 as well, right? Yeah. Okay, so you guys should have it already done? Perfect. So, I'll have those due Friday, and you should already have them done. It's gonna be a big deal this trimester to turn homework in on time, because you're not gonna have any tests until approximately May 15th or so. So your grade is going to drastically look good or bad until we take a test. Like your homework is gonna be everything for the grade up until that point. So, I don't like it, and we'll talk more about that, but I figured we'd let the classes kind of settle and shift and whatever.
Oh,